Hey, what is up guys, Guitar Rock here, welcome back to another Blue Archive video. So if you guys are not aware, today is the official Steam launch day for Blue Archive, alright, 4th of July. So as of the time of me recording this video, it could be already 5th of July depending on how fast I can edit this. But let's talk a little bit more about Rerolling if you guys are interested to try to have the best start in Blue Archive. So with that, if you guys are not aware, right now, if you log in, you are going to get 20 free pulls. Doesn't matter if you're playing on Steam or not, you should be getting that as a Steam celebration bonus. Now, if you're a new account trying to play the game right now, you will be able to get a total equivalence of 40 free pulls. Now, that is going to be quite a lot of pulls right there to be able to do your gacha pulls, etc, etc. So let's talk about Rerolling as a whole in Blue Archive right now to give you guys a better idea on who you should be rolling for if you are playing right now. Now, first things first, Steam client has been extremely smooth. If you guys haven't tried it out already, alright, it is apparently based upon the feedback, it has been extremely smooth, smoother than most emulators even. So if you guys are still playing Blue Archive using emulator, you might want to try this out for yourself and consider switching over, right? Now, I am aware that not every region has access to it. Blocked in Germany apparently, as far as I know, but that's just how it is, right, with some of these games. Make sure you guys check the availability first, whether or not it's going to be available for you. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about Rerolling right now. So Rerolling in this game is pretty easy. You just gotta play through the tutorial at the beginning, alright, and then once you get through all the way to the mailbox, then you have access to even more pulls, about 40 free pulls. Now, before you reach the mailbox section right here, right? So before you come here and claim everything, there's one more small section that you can reroll for the beginner banner. Now, that one is going to be quite unique. You can basically do 10 different multi-rolls and then you can basically choose a specific one for that particular banner. Now, that particular beginner banner, not every student will be available right there. Now, who is going to be the best choice in that particular first category of banner? Alright, in my opinion, out of those few selected students that you can choose, Yori is probably going to be one of the better ones. Now, even though you can basically try to farm her shards later on, for her, she's going to be one of the best choice to basically obtain in that particular one. Now, if you don't want Yori, if you are looking to focus more in PvP, then Shun is probably going to be a better character, right? Because Shun is going to be one of the best ones. She gives you cost at the beginning. Now, I'm not going to jump too deep into the skills, alright, but I just want to focus more about the reroll process. Yori, Shun, and in my opinion, the third one is going to be Aru. Alright, so Aru is going to make a lot of sense as well. If you want her, she's going to be available right there as well. Now, Yori and Aru can be farmed in the hard stages. So basically, you can farm their shards. It takes a long time though, however, right? If you're a new player, it's definitely going to be a while before you can get the full complete character. If you're trying to farm them, it will take like 4 to 5 months. Yori will be able to carry you in a lot of story stages. I think that she's going to be the priority. And she can also be good in PvP as well, which is why I'm putting her at the priority list, alright, compared to Shun and Aru. Now, another honorable mention that I forgot to mention is going to be Hibiki. She's going to be a pretty good special character that can do DPS with 4 costs. In my opinion, Yori should still be the priority. She can maybe come in the second place if you're looking to focus PvE, right? And then Shun is going to be the third, and then Aru is going to be after, right? So that's going to be the priority ranking in my opinion. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about right now when you want to reroll, right? It is going to be a little bit of a weird timing right now to play Blue Archive. Now, why is it a weird timing, right? So if you guys are not aware, today is going to be the official Steam launch day, right? So basically, depending on when you watch this, 4th of July or 5th of July. Now, the problem is next week, we are going to have this new special banner, alright, that is going to feature a couple of new featured students, Seiya and School Uniform Asuna. Now, this is going to happen next Tuesday on 8th of July. Alright, so this is going to happen in about 2 to 3 days depending on when you watch this, right? And we are going to get 100 free pulls in this particular banner, right? So this is going to be a very, very unique one. So should you play right now or should you play later, right? Because when you play during this period, you are going to get 100 free pulls and it's definitely going to be much easier for you to reroll. However, if you were to reroll for the 100 free pulls or during this particular period, keep in mind that it's not going to be given to you immediately. You're going to get a couple of pulls every single day. So day 1 will give you 10, day 2 will give you 10, and then you can see day 5, day 6, and day 7 will give you 20, 20, 20. So you get a total of 100 free pulls over the course of 7 days. Now, in case you guys are wondering, right here it mentioned that if you log in during the event, you can also receive the previous day's free recruitments. So what you can do is you can basically just log in on the last day, and then you can obtain all the 100 free pulls. Alright, so that's going to be what it is. Now this is going to be what is interesting right here, right? These 100 free pulls can be used to obtain these two characters right here, Seiya and Uniform Asuna. Uniform Karin is going to be free. She's a 1-star character right here, you can see. So you basically can choose to pull either one of these two. I recommend new players to pick Seiya over Uniform Asuna, alright, but you know, with 100 free pulls, maybe you can get both. Now the big problem is not going to be for the 100 free pulls. The big problem is going to be what comes after that. Alright, so on 15th of July, that is going to be the fast banner for Blue Archive. Now, what is the fast banner for Blue Archive? If you guys are new to Blue Archive, fast banner is something that happens every single year, and Blue Archive will basically release this special banner where you can get characters or get 3-star students for a 6% rate. Alright, 6% is double the rates of our normal rate, which is 3%. Now, this is going to also feature these specific rare students that can only be obtained during the fast banner. Alright, that is going to be Rio, that's going to be School Uniform Neru, and Swimsuit Hanako. Now, 3 very, very prominent characters, one of the strongest in the meta right now. Alright, highly recommend you guys to get Swimsuit Hanako and get Rio. Now, Rio probably should be the priority because she's one of the best support in the game. Now, this is going to put a lot of players, if you're starting today, in a weird spot, right? Should you play right now? Should you wait for the 100 free pulls? Or should you wait for later, 1 week after, for the 6% banner, right? Now, you might be thinking, oh, I can just play next week, alright, for during the 8th of July, get these 100 free pulls and save for the 6% banner. You can't. You have to use these 100 free pulls during the early banners right here. You have to use it during either the Seiya or the School Uniform Asuna. The 100 free pulls is not given to you in the form of tickets, it's tied to that banner. So you have to use them right there. So unfortunately, you can't benefit from the benefits of getting the 6% banner. Now again, this puts the Steam users or the Steam players at a very, very weird spot, especially if you are new, right? If you play right now, you can also reroll right now. Now if you play next week, then it's much easier to reroll because you get 100 free pulls. Right now, if you start today, you only get 40 free pulls, right? So it's going to be much easier for you to reroll next week, get Seiya and stuff. But then, Seiya is strong, but in the fast banner, you can get way more meta students, alright, including Swimsuit Hoshino, Wakamo, Swimsuit Hanako, and of course Rio. So that one is 6% banner. But if you start during the fast banner, then you are going to lose out on the 100 free pulls. So it is going to be a little bit of a dilemma, and this is going to be something that I've been thinking a little bit about as well, right? So for me, I'm trying to think in my perspective, if I were to start a new account right now, what would I do, right? So here's what I would do. I would still play the game today or during this weekend, right? Hopefully, try to reroll as best as I can. And if I were to get enough pulls, what I would do is I would try to get Seiya during the fast banner, and hopefully, alright, I'll try to rush, go through everything, alright, play through the story, play through the campaign. You get plenty of gems actually, and also all of this event recap, do all of this stuff right here, go to the guide task, do all of this stuff right here. You should be easily, you can get like 20-30,000 pyroxenes, alright, and then you'll be good to go, alright, for the Rio and Seiya banner. Hopefully, it is going to be dependent on whether or not you are able to push that far into the story right now during the first couple of days, right? So it is going to be a little bit tight, but if you are a hardcore gamer, that should be possible. Now, if you can really do all of that, you should be able to guarantee yourself a Seiya and guarantee yourself a Rio afterwards, and hopefully you can get Hanako as well. In general, I think a lot of new players, if your account is new, you will be able to get at least 100 free pulls right here, and then you need to substitute your own 100 free pulls to guarantee her. And then during here, because it's a 6% banner, it's definitely much easier for you to obtain Rio and of course Swimsuit Hanako, right? That's going to be the best course, but it is going to be a little bit risky. Now again, the 6% banner, I just want to reiterate, is going to be for this particular banner, including Rio, School Uniform Neru, and of course Swimsuit Hanako. The Seiya banner that you get 100 free pulls is not going to have the 6% rates, it's only going to have the 3% rates. Now keep in mind, they are only giving you 100 free pulls, so you can still get unlucky and not get Seiya. You need 200 pulls to guarantee a character in this game. In case you guys are wondering, right? You can come here. Once you do 200 pulls in that particular banner, then you can basically try to spark them. Alright, that's the term that they use in this particular game. You can basically select that particular banner. Now they are going to give you 100 free pulls, so you might need to get another 100 free pulls on your own to add to that, hopefully to be able to spark Seiya if you are super unlucky. Now obviously, all of this doesn't matter if you don't plan to reroll. If you just want to play the game normally, you just want to I just want to play the game normally, that's fine. Alright, you can do however you want, but I'm here to basically try to give players a better perspective on how to have a strong start in your account in Blue Archive if you were to start right now. Now, what is rerolling? In case you guys are still wondering what am I talking about, right? Maybe some of you guys are not familiar with this term. Rerolling is basically the process of you logging in with an email account, right? And then you basically don't link it to anything, alright? Just use a guest account, right? And then you play the tutorial, and then once you reach the roles and then the tutorial, you go to the mailbox, alright? You claim all the free pulls that's available right there, and then you try to do the gacha rolls in the particular recruitment banner. Once you do that, hopefully you are trying to basically get the meta students or the strongest characters so that you can have an easier time progressing in your account. Now, is rerolling important in this game? Now, Blue Archive has been out for about 3 years, alright, almost 4 years in JP. I do think that rerolling is going to give you an advantage because there's a lot of students in this particular game. Alright, there's a lot of characters in general. So you can get some characters and some of them are limited. So there's also going to be that particular issue as well, right? Trying to get a specifically strong or meta student that will be able to help you is definitely going to be much easier. Now, the game definitely do give you selectors and stuff, but most are paid only, so unless you want to spend like a bunch of money, right? Ideally, rerolling is definitely going to be highly advisable, especially if you are a free-to-play player. Now with that, how should you reroll right now if you were to start today? So like I mentioned earlier, there's the selective reroll that you can do, right? You need to do that particular one first. So I already mentioned the characters earlier. Highly recommend Yori. Now once you get her, you can choose to do 2 second step of reroll process. Basically, you go to the mailbox, claim everything in the mailbox, and then you do a second step of reroll. Now at the end, if you don't get the things that you want, what you can do is you go right here, go to account, and then you can just press the reset account. So there's 4 banners right now, right? So there's going to be the Bunny Toki character, there's the Maid Momoy, Maid Midori, and of course Maid Aries. So ideally, I would say roll in any of these banner. Probably go with Maid Momoy. Like, let's be honest, all 4 of these characters are not going to be super meta, but your target shouldn't be them. You want to try to roll for Kisaki. Now, Kisaki is probably one of the best characters that anyone can start with right now. She's probably going to be a very good, very strong support. Now, generally in Blue Archive, you want to try to roll for the support rather than the DPS characters early on, because that's going to be able to help you in a lot of endgame content in this particular game. If you guys are not aware, you can basically borrow another friend's students. Usually you build your own support and then you try to borrow somebody's DPS. Now, that way is going to be much more cost efficient for new players because building characters in this game are going to be very expensive. Especially if you're new, getting some of these gears up is going to be very costly, and of course, level up the skills as well. It is very expensive. You need a bunch of credits, etc. So generally, borrowing DPS is going to be the strat to go, right? Supports are going to be much more consistent, pretty much going to copy and paste them and use them in almost every single boss. Kisaki is probably going to be one of the best one. For 3 cost EX, she is going to be able to increase the EX skill damage to one ally by 80%. Alright, very good. She also has cost recovery, so she's one of the best special student alongside with Rio. Both of these are going to pretty much complement your team overall. Now, aside from Kisaki, who should you be looking out for, right? You also want to look out for Akko. She's going to be relatively good as well, one of the best crit rate and crit damage buffer, but I still think that Kisaki should be the priority. Alright, she is going to be pretty good. She can give you passive crit damage. One more character that you want to look out for is going to be Swimsuit Shiroko as well. So she is also going to be one of the better character in PvP, right? But she's also very good in a lot of other general contents as well. But Kisaki and Akko is going to be much more used in PvE, but Swimsuit Shiroko, she shines in PvP, but she can still be used in PvE in a lot of situations due to her cost recovery right there. Now, Ui is still being used a lot. If you get her, she's also going to be quite helpful. Now, Seiya that's coming next week is going to sort of compete with her in the cost half role trying to like reduce your EX cost by half, especially if your students has like very high EX skill cost. She will be able to do that, maintain your cost recovery. As you can see, she can also give a little bit of crit. She shouldn't be your priority. I still feel like those other that I mentioned earlier should be the main focus, but Ui is not bad, right? Especially if you don't think you can get Seiya. Now, of course, another attack buffer in the striker slot, Camping Hair right here, so she is going to be able to help you in a lot of situations. One of the best attack percent buffer that you can get in your striker slot. And last but not least, Dress Aru, which I do not have, but if you can get her, she is going to be one of the best crit damage buffer for the striker slot. So those characters that I mentioned are going to be the priority. Now I would say this is pretty much going to be the priority list. Unless you can get Seiya, then you can sort of ignore Ui, but other than that, those are going to be the better characters to obtain for supports. So yeah, those are pretty much the students that I recommend you guys to try to obtain. Obviously, rerolling is going to be something that you should only do if you are very certain that you're gonna play the game. At the end of the day, just try to enjoy the game as much as you can. Blue Archive is a beautiful game. Hopefully you guys are able to enjoy it, but I will always be here trying to help some new players. If you guys want advice, feel free to tune in to my stream as well on twitch.tv/guitarrock69. If you guys are looking for any specific advice, I'll try to work on a beginner's guide as well for any new players that are starting. I should have plenty of other videos as well, so feel free to subscribe. Give this video a like if you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day and enjoy the game.